5:47 a.m. February 24, 2026. Persian Gulf, 60 nautical miles southwest of Bushehr. An F-35C Lightning II, call sign Reaper 1, was returning to the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln after completing a reconnaissance flight along the Iranian coast. The pilot, a lieutenant commander with over 200 combat missions under his belt, watched as his N/ASQ-239 electronic warfare system began registering new contacts and 6 aerial targets climbing from Tactical Air Base No. 6 outside of Bushehr. Classification: F-4E Phantom II. 6 Iranian targets vectoring directly toward his position. 6-1. In any other era of air combat history, those odds would have been a death sentence. But this was no other era, and the pilots of those Phantoms were about to discover that a 60-year technological gap isn't narrowed by bravery if it becomes a bottomless pit. The F-4 Phantom II is a living relic of an Iran that no longer exists. Its first flight in 1958 made it the flagship fighter bomber of the United States during the Vietnam War. In the 1970s, the Shah of Iran acquired 225 units, transforming the Iranian Air Force into one of the most formidable in the Middle East. Then came the 1979 revolution. Overnight, Iran lost American support, spare parts dried up, technical assistance vanished, and for 47 years Iranian mechanics and engineers have kept approximately 30 Phantoms flying using black market parts, reverse engineering, and a mechanical ingenuity that borders on art. But the reality of maintenance is brutal: systematic cannibalization. When an F-4 is too damaged to fly, it is completely dismantled. Hydraulics, avionics, structural components, everything is redistributed to keep the others airborne. They have even resorted to 3D printing to manufacture parts that would normally come from the factory. The J-79 engines have been disassembled and rebuilt so many times that almost none retain original General Electric parts. They are assemblies of components machined in Iran, salvaged bearings, and hand-tuned turbine blades. Every F-4 that takes off in Iran is a Frankenstein's monster armed with the bones of 5 dead brothers. Yes, the F-4's specifications reflect its era. Top speed Mach 2. Powered by 2 J-79 turbojets, equipped with an N/APQ-120 analog radar with a detection range of approximately 60 km against house-sized targets. Armament includes AIM-7 Sparrow missiles or their Iranian copies, the Faker 90, an M61 cannon, a 20mm Vulcan cannon, and various bombs. The pilots who fly these machines are experienced. Many have accumulated thousands of hours in the Phantom. They know every sound of the J-79 and every vibration that signals a problem, but their radar sees the world through a keyhole. The F-4 was a marvel in 1965. By 2026, it's a museum piece with a heartbeat. Now let's talk about what they were up against. The F-35C Lightning II represents everything the F-4 is not. A 5th-generation stealth fighter with an N/APG-81 AES radar, capable of detecting targets at over 150 kilometers. Yes. An N/ASQ-239/CUDA electronic warfare system that provides complete 360 degrees awareness of all electromagnetic emissions in the environment. An N/AQ-37 distributed aperture system with 6 infrared cameras that create a complete spherical surveillance bubble, allowing the pilot to literally see through the fuselage of their own aircraft. Internal weapons bays eliminate external loads, minimizing the radar signature. The F-35's radar cross-section is roughly the size of a marble. The F-4's is about 6 square meters, the size of a small pickup truck. Fighting an F-35 in an F-4 is like trying to catch a nuclear submarine with a fishing rod. You could be the best fisherman on the planet. It makes absolutely no difference. The F-4's radar might detect an F-35 at about 20 kilometers under ideal conditions. The F-35's radar detects an F-4 at over 250 kilometers. One pilot sees everything. 6 pilots see absolutely nothing. And that's basically the whole story of what happened next. At the Revolutionary Guard's Air Defense Command Center outside Bushehr, a radar operator reported the contact at 5:30 a.m. Single aerial target, heading 215, distance 110 kilometers, altitude 25,000 feet, southwest direction. Classification: U.S. fighter, likely F/A-18 or F-35. The officer on duty, an IRGC colonel, studied the screen. A lone aircraft far from the carrier strike group. This wasn't routine reconnaissance from a safe distance. This was an opportunity. He picked up the phone safely and made a call to Tehran. "We have an isolated American house within interception range. I request authorization to engage it." The response came in 90 seconds. Authorized to count. This went beyond tactical, it was a political imperative. Iran needed to demonstrate that its air force, flying. Even with American fighter jets from decades past, Iran could still stand up to the most advanced military machine in the world, proving that courage and skill could overcome technological disparity. The order for immediate takeoff reached Tactical Air Base 6. 6 F-4E Phantoms received launch clearance. The formation's commander, call sign Sork Lade, was a colonel with 30 years of experience piloting the Phantom, including actual combat during the Iran-Iraq War. He walked to his aircraft, performing the pre-flight inspection he had executed thousands of times. Under each wing, a Faker 90 missile, an Iranian copy of the AIM-7 Sparrow, manufactured with smuggled and domestically produced components. In the nose, an M61A1 Vulcan cannon with 600 rounds of 20 mm ammunition. He knew the odds. One F-4 against one F-35 was pure technological suicide, but 6 F-4s against a single F-35, that was the best chance Iran would ever have. He climbed into the cockpit and ignited the J-79S, each one rebuilt so many times that the maintenance logs looked like archaeological documents, and taxied to the runway. The 6 Phantoms climbed to 30,000 feet and split into 3 pairs, executing a classic pincer interception. Smorg 1 and 2 approaching head-on. Smorg 3 and 4 on the left flank. Smorg 5 and 6 opening a wide arc to attack from behind. Their radar screens showed empty skies. The F-35 was invisible to their systems, but ground radar was tracking the target and providing verbal guidance. Target heading 220, distance 80 kilometers, closing in. The Phantoms accelerated to intercept speed. In the F-35 cockpit, Reaper 1 saw absolutely everything on his helmet-mounted display. 6 green diamonds representing each F-4 were labeled with altitude, speed, and heading. He watched them separate into pairs. He understood the tactic instantly. They were mounting a wraparound intercept, trying to catch him from multiple angles. He activated the Lincoln radio. Reaper 1, 6 bandits, Phantoms, heading 040, distance 120. They are setting up an intercept pincer. I request free weapons. Reaper 1, free weapons. Employ at discretion. The pilot didn't accelerate, didn't maneuver, just continued flying straight ahead directly toward the Iranian formation. Because you don't need to evade an enemy that doesn't know you exist. He selected his first target. He saw the rear pair approaching from his 6. Tactical logic. Eliminate rear threats first so that the forward elements take longer to realize what's happening. 5:52, distance 60 nautical miles. Reaper 1 opened its internal weapons bay. The hatch opened for 8 seconds. An AIM-120D UMRAM separated from the rail. Rocket motor ignited with the door closed. The F-35's radar cross-section barely flickered. The missile flew for 45 seconds. Sayre 5's radar warning receiver, a 1970s-era ALR-46 system, detected absolutely nothing. That system was designed to recognize older radar emissions. Modern low-probability of interception radars like the one on the UMRAM are completely invisible to it. The missile struck Simorgh 5's right engine. The F-4 disintegrated into a ball of fire, fuel, and debris. Simorgh 6, flying at 3,000 feet to the left, felt the explosion through its cockpit and shouted over the radio, "Bushehr 5 shot down. I don't see the shooter. Where is he?" Panic swept through the formation. 6 confident pilots executing a rehearsed intercept were now facing an invisible threat. Bushehr 6 broke formation, turning violently to the right as it visually searched for the attacker. Its radar showed clear skies. The second AMRAAM was already airborne. Impact on the left wing. The F-4 went into an inverted barrel roll and went into a flat spin. Bushehr 6 ejected at 18,000 feet, 2 Phantoms destroyed in 90 seconds. Sorgad transmitted all aircraft radar at full power. Find it. The 4 remaining N/APQ-120 radars went to full transmission, desperately scanning the sky. They found nothing. The F-35 was still invisible. 5:54, Sorgh 3 initiated violent evasive maneuvers, throwing his aircraft into barrel rolls and firing infrared flares, despite having no indication of a missile launch. He maneuvered blindly, hoping to break an engagement that might exist, might not. The third AMRAAM hit the tail section. The pilot ejected successfully. 55, Simorgh 4 witnessed his wingman's parachute deploying in midair and made a decision. Survival. He pushed the levers to maximum afterburner and turned toward the Iranian coast. Abandoning the intercept, Reaper 1 tracked him effortlessly. The fourth AMRAAM hit the fleeing F-4 from behind. 4 shot down. Reaper 1's N/ASQ-239 system was intercepting Iranian radio communications. The encrypted tactical frequencies were impenetrable, but the voice channels were open. Certain radios were transmitting everything. A translator aboard the USS Lincoln monitored in real time, providing continuous commentary over the tactical network. Through his headset. Yes, the F-35 pilot heard fragments. Panicked voices speaking in Farsi, overlapping transmissions, the strain in the voices as the pilots realized they were being hunted by something they couldn't see. For an instant, he processed the human reality of what was happening. Experienced pilots doing their duty, obeying orders, unaware they were dead from the moment they took off. Men who had dedicated decades to mastering an aircraft that was obsolete before they were even born. Then he refocused. War isn't about justice. 5:56, ground control was shouting over the radio. Abort, abort. Return to base immediately. Too late for Sorgh 2. The fifth AMRAAM found him while he was still processing the order. 5 down. Sorgad was alone, down 6 aircraft to 1 in 4 minutes. And the colonel made the only decision available to a warrior who refuses to die running away. He turned directly into the path of the threat and accelerated to full speed. If he couldn't shoot what he couldn't see, at least he would face it head-on. His old N/APQ-120 radar swept the sky ahead of him. Empty. Empty. Then, for half a second, a contact. Weak return. 11 miles. Heading 185. It disappeared before he could lock on. He saw a ghost. Half a second. The radar showed something at 11 miles. Then nothing. He pushed the sticks hard, pointed the nose toward where the contact had been, and waited. 5:58. Morgad saw a flash, the rocket motor of an AMRAAM launched from a point in space that his eyes registered as empty sky, pulled hard to the left, deploying every countermeasure he had. Flares, chafing, everything. The missile pierced the flares and struck the fuselage between the 2 engines. The Phantom tore to pieces. At the IRGC Air Defense Command Center in Bushehr. Silence. The radar operator stared at his screen, where 8 minutes earlier there had been 6 friendly contacts. Now there was nothing, just empty sky and a single American aircraft continuing southwest as if absolutely nothing had happened. The officers exchanged glances. No one spoke. The colonel who had called Tehran 15 minutes earlier, with complete confidence and reporting an interception opportunity, 6 houses to 1, now had to make a second call with very different news. 6 pilots dead or missing. A fifth of Iran's operational Phantom fleet, evaporated in the time it takes to make a cup of coffee. If you were Sorged, 30 years of experience, 6 aircraft under your command, and your comrades disappearing one by one, eliminated by a weapon you can't see, can't detect, can't evade. Would you turn around and flee, or would you do what he did? Fly straight into the darkness, hoping to see your executioner before the end. 8 minutes. 6 missiles, AIM-10D, AMRAAM, 6 targets, 6 hits, 100% kill rate. The F-35 was never detected, never tracked, never targeted. Reaper 1 turned south toward the Lincoln and transmitted, 6 bandits, Splash, Winchester, RTV. At 6:10, 8 F/18E Super Hornets and 2 EA-18G Growlers took off from the USS Abraham Lincoln, destined for Tactical Air Base 6, Bushehr, the same airfield from which 6 F-4s had departed just 35 minutes earlier. At 6:20, the Growlers activated their jamming systems on N/ALQ-249, flooding Iranian air defense radars around Bushehr with electromagnetic noise. The screens went white. 6:25, the Super Hornets launched AGM-88 anti-radiation missiles. 3 Iranian radar sites detected the missiles 2 seconds before impact. All 3 radars were destroyed. 6:30 AGM-154 CJS glide weapons struck the runway, aircraft shelters, and parking aprons of TFB-6. 4 F-4 Phantoms that had not participated in the interception attempt were destroyed on the ground. 1 armored shelter took a direct hit from a SUV loaded with Blue 108 submunitions. Inside that shelter was an F-4 with its wings removed for maintenance, surrounded by metal racks of neatly arranged parts, hydraulic actuators, avionics modules, and engine components hand-machined in Iranian workshops. On the faded, smoke-stained concrete wall hung a 1975 photograph. The Shah of Iran stood next to a gleaming, brand-new F-4R. American and Iranian flags flew in the background. Mechanics in immaculate uniforms stood nearby. 50 years of history in a single image. The JS penetrated the reinforced roof. The shelter exploded. When the smoke cleared, only twisted metal and concrete dust remained. From the pride of an empire to rubble in a concrete box. The half-century arc ended in flames. The maintenance hangars, the storage tanks, which housed 47 years' worth of accumulated spare parts, salvaged components, reverse-engineered assemblies, and black market acquisitions, burned. Decades of mechanical ingenuity were wiped out in 6 minutes and 35 seconds, and the fuel storage tanks detonated in secondary explosions that sent fireballs 100 meters high. 6:40, all American aircraft recovered aboard the Lincoln. Total mission duration, 30 minutes. Iran had invested 47 years keeping 30 Phantoms airborne, through sheer willpower and determination. In 35 minutes, they lost 10. 6 in the air, 4 on the ground. A third of their operational fleet was missing. Battle damage assessment, 6 F-4S and Phantom IIs destroyed in air combat. 2 pilots were captured and recovered by Iranian search and rescue. 4 killed in action. 4 F-4S destroyed on the ground at TFB-6. Airfield rendered unusable with cratered runway and destroyed support facilities. 3 air defense radar sites destroyed. No U.S. losses. 0 aircraft. 0 damage. 0 casualties. Munitions expended by the F-35C, 6 AMRAAM AIM-120 missiles. All 6 achieved a 100% hit rate. The F-35 was detected exactly once during the 8-minute engagement. A half-second radar return at 11 miles recorded by Syork leads and /APQ-120 before contact faded. That single fleeting detection represents the only time an Iranian radar ever spotted the aircraft. The economic asymmetry is stark. An F-35C costs approximately $100 million. The 6 F-4s destroyed in the air are functionally unsellable on the international market, museum pieces kept flying by sheer willpower. And yet, that single expensive jet wiped out a third of Iran's operational inventory of aircraft in the time it takes to drink a cup of coffee. Iran sent 6 aircraft to kill one. They couldn't find it, they couldn't track it, they couldn't see it until the missiles were already in flight. 6 experienced pilots in 6 proven aircraft against a single pilot in a jet designed 60 years later. The engagement lasted 8 minutes. The F-35 was never in danger for a single second. Try ambushing a 5th-generation stealth fighter with 1960s technology and you'll discover that there are gaps that can't be closed with courage or skill, only with physics that didn't exist when your aircraft was designed. If this analysis resonated with you, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Share this video with someone who needs to see it and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Write Ghost Hunter in the comments if you made it this far. See you in the next one. 3.